Yeah, good afternoon. It's Andy and Tim. We're the two P's in the podcast for 21st of June. Happy Father's Day to those who have children. And yeah, it's Happy Father's Day today, all around the world.
Yeah, there's nothing more touching than to get a Father's Day or a Mother's Day well wisher in the form of your own child. I got a message from my lovely Mari this morning, which was all I needed for my day. It was really nice. Okay.
Yes, it's only the little things that matter more, you know. It's if somebody gives you a dollar birthday card or even just a bit of paper that says happy birthday, it don't really matter, what it's written on. It's the thought that counts. And thank God also, today in the news, Keir Starmer's going to resign tomorrow. That's not the end of our problems over here, but we need the whole Labour government now gone and somebody independent in that takes care of the British people really from, I'd say, the centre right.
Well, thank God he has finally seen the truth that he's incompetent in his role and he has to go.
Trump, it's quite funny because Trump said, well, a polite F off. You know, he's basically said, look, you've destroyed the immigration, you made it worse, you've destroyed power choices, you've made it worse. But see, Trump don't like these wind turbines that go round and round. We thought that was renewable energy and it was quite good for you, but apparently all our renewable energy in our country's full of these wind turbines goes abroad, so we don't actually benefit from our own wind turbines. That's what Trump was having a go at.
Are you serious? You sell your wind turbine energy to other EU countries?
Our crazy government, yeah. And it's the same with all the oil in the North Sea above Scotland. We should be having that, but no, we give it away. Well, we probably sell it somewhere. So then we have to buy it in from expensive countries, and even at some point Russia. It don't make no sense.
Well, it's the stupid climate agenda which forces policies that make the cost of living skyrocket, and it damages the national economy and does no good to the country. Climate change, my God, we're going to have a catastrophic collapse of civilization, you idiots. Don't you get it? They
It's nothing to
think
do with the
that
weather.
they think they're mitigating a catastrophic collapse by, initiating these climate related policies, these climate change related policies, but they're just fast tracking us into disaster before we would even have to face such dire emergencies. They're plunging us into a worldwide depression and famine, for Christ's sake.
Absolutely. Especially
And
after Liz.
frankly, Andy, I think the famine that they're planning, it's like the pandemic, it's a plamine. Sorry. Sorry. I believe that they're going to force a new diet upon us through the forced famine, the plamine. You will eat bugs and like it. Uh, there's going to be things like veggie burgers, and they're going to make synthetic hamburgers out of things like insects. Oh, just ghastly. And
It's
they have
happening.
a plan to introduce a new diet, and the only way they can force this diet upon us is if we're starving. Oh, yes, please. Yes, I'll lie. I'll queue up for that. Please, let's have some uh bug burgers. Yes. So yeah, I think that's the plan, Andy.
Yeah, I mean, moving on, we'll just sort of cover through different issues today because we had nothing planned. I watched that video again from John, the ex-nurse about, oh, and the professor on there that was telling everybody how that COVID-19 um, and all them bits and pieces inside of COVID actually restarts cancer, and it's not just one type of cancer; it's every type of cancer, and it mainly happens to the people. I don't understand this, maybe because they're getting too much of it, but it's the boosters that are causing the cancers to wake up, not the initial dose. But I guess once you've had one dose, two dose, three dose, they become boosters. You're getting more of that rubbish in you, and it's waking up the cancers quicker. I felt
Mhm.
that really scary and interesting at the same time.
Well, they call it turbo cancer, so it seems that it's all a calculated attempt to introduce disease through compulsory vaccination. So it's a eugenics program, and a good many of us will succumb to the bioweapon. And there's nanotechnology in the vaccines too, which will have a transhumanist effect on us, but effectively it's a genocide operation for the human race because they've altered our DNA. They say they haven't, they're lying because they lie about goddamn everything. You don't believe them, people. Look into it, do your research, and find out they are changing our DNA. They're deleting the God gene, which means you have zero spirituality. Zero. You got that? You're no longer God's child. You're no longer a child of God. You may as well be a child of Satan because that's what the mRNA vaccine has done. It's programmed your God gene to be deleted from your genetic. They'll say, no, that's just a conspiracy theory. Bullshit, you liars. It's dead true. I've read it. I've done the research. It is true. DARPA has a lecture on, I found it online, and the lecturer was talking about how it's considered a military threat for human beings in various communities around the world to have a abiding belief in God, because when they believe in God, they're fearless and they'll take on the military and oppose occupation of their country by foreign militaries or whatever. And they don't want that. They want a completely compliant, docile population that they can control. Well, you know what we say. Fuck you. No, we're not going to be controlled by you. No, we're not. Okay. Anyway, the Grooming Gang Inquiry Report, Andy. Have you read it?
No, I always get the gist of things. I don't actually read a lot. No, I find that video format is much better, and it's scary because if you're reading the one that came from Rupert Lowe,
Hmm.
or Restore Britain, the Independent, basically, Grooming Inquiry. But if you read the official one, then the official one is full of lies.
Oh, the official one is full of lies. In what respect?
Well, I guess that they're not telling the true truth about how many kids were exploited. Um, that's what I think. That's why people should really go to it's grooming-gangs.independent.inquiry.uk, or just Google independent gang inquiry. Um, that's the true.
Well, 250,000 white girls being trafficked by these Pakistani creeps is, I'm sorry, it's racism. And they're targeting white girls. That's racism. So I call them on their racism. They are racist. I'm not. They are. They're targeting my race. And that's despicable. They're abusing these young virgin girls. And it's a crime. And I want them to get the fuck out of Britain now. Fuck you.
Yeah, in fact, the fact checkers have confirmed 250,000 girls. So it's that's part of the independent and official inquiry. It's very hard to decide who's actually, but Rupert Lowe is the one of the independent one anyway. But you're absolutely right on that. It's shock.
They called them white trash. That's just despicable racism. And it's abuse, and they will never be able to recover from that mental, psychological abuse that was inflicted on them. Never mind the physical abuse, which they will obviously never recover. They'll probably never have a normal romantic relationship in their life because of the horror of how they associate sex with this rape. And it's mass rape. It's not just one rapist. They were raped multiple times, these poor things. Andy, it's absolutely abhorrent. It's a crime against humanity, and these people need to be arrested, serve their sentence, and then deport the fuckers out of the country. It's absolutely despicable. Despicable.
I'll give you a little story that was breaking today regarding that. Now,
Yeah.
Sammy Woodhouse, she's from the north of England, the Rotherham area. She was
Yeah.
multiply raped by gangs at 14. Now, she's also now a political commentator and activist against child sexual abuse, like Brian Clare was. In fact, I think they knew each other very well before Brian died.
Hmm.
Anyway, her abuser, or one of her abusers, got 35 years in jail. That was given to him about 12 or 14 months ago. He's now put in for early release, yes, after a year, and he's supposed to serve 35 years. Our country has gone bonkers. 35 years, and after 1 year, you can apply for early release. It's mad.
Yeah, well, the problem here we have is that this is child trafficking, sex trafficking on an industrial scale, and it was only possible because of the corrupt institutions of the United Kingdom. They've all been corrupted. So you had the police services involved, you had the child services, the care system, the so-called care system that doesn't care, doesn't give a shit, it doesn't give a damn. And these poor kids, social workers were actually enabling these rapists to take and abduct these children and share them about and pass them around all over the goddamn UK.
Yeah.
So the
The-
social workers weren't just turning a blind eye. They were saying, oh, here she is. Take her. Go ahead. Oh, you want to take her again? Oh, yeah. Well, she was abused last week, but you can take her again.
And of
So there's
course, poor old Joanne and other people, this happened in the 60s, and in the 2000s it's happening again, and in the 2026s it's happening again. Why don't our politicians want to protect our women and children?
Well, I'm afraid that I have never had a high regard for the elite in any country I've been in. And I have not a sneaking suspicion, but a darn right strong gut instinct that Satanists are running the show, that we have satanic secret societies running our countries and at the highest positions in our institutional life. And there's a reason that all of my life I have felt that far from my competency and excellence being rewarded, I'm consistently punished for it because of the incompetence at the top. Incompetence gets promoted to the top because incompetence and corruption go hand in hand. And I'm sorry to say, but all you have to do is look at the British royal family to see that corruption is at the very top. And I'm sorry, but the British royal family is corrupt from one end of the family to the other. It's all corrupt. And I really hate to say it, but as an institution, I think it's on its last legs. I don't think the monarchy is going to survive past King William, even if he is able to assume his position as king. I really don't think it's going to last beyond his tenure in the office of king.
Yeah, there was an article that somebody written with the king there,
Hmm.
and they said, on the lines of it, a poster really and an article. I just looked at the poster. It said, "You're no king because you're not protecting British children and women and children." So that's kind of a true statement there. And then remember in the I don't know what year it was now, but Harriet Harman was in Labour in the early 2000s or late 1990s. And the Daily Mail, our newspaper, alleged that during the 1970s and 80s, the paedophile information exchange called PI, which Harriet Harman was running at the time, wanted to lower the age of consent to 10 for sex and weaken child pornography laws. Now, fast forward to today, they're doing totally the opposite. They're not allowing kids go online anymore, and so I don't know what's going on here. They wouldn't one minute they want to make it easy, and now they want to make it hard. I don't know. It's very confusing.
Yeah, well,
But Labour government is it was a good one in the 70s. Now it's rubbish. It just don't have any respect at all for people. None at all.
well, it seems to be driven by its ideological objective of imposing far right, or sorry, far left, radical left socialism, which I'm sorry, but it doesn't get any more far left than communism. I think their ultimate goal is to make all Western countries communist. And the Fabian society is corrupted, certainly Canada, certainly Britain, probably the United States. And it may not be a deep state, but it's a pretty influential organization that has ideologically supported the view of a politics of gradualism, and that, it repudiated Karl Marx's concepts of a worldwide workers' revolution as too radical, too extreme, and they decided that a politics of gradualism would be more effective. So, over the decades, the parties that leaned left leaned farther and farther left through this policy of gradualism until they became indistinguishable from a communist party.
Well, actually, on that note, our current government and all the heads, so we've got Sir Keir Starmer, Angela Rayner, Rachel
Hmm.
Reeves, the Chancellor, Sadiq Khan, the arsewipe from the Mayor of London, West Streeton, our Health Minister that resigned, and
Hmm.
Lisa Nandy, they're all Fabian members.
Oh, who's surprised? That's very interesting, Andy. That's a good find. How did you discover that?
I just Googled it. It's quite quite easy to Google these days.
Okay.
And then, of course, we've got Baroness Hayter and Hayter. Now, I'm not sure, but I thought she was a judge of some kind. Um, it just, we always find that judges, anyone legal, tend to be linked to either the Fabian Society or the Freemasons, and that's why we've got such a rubbish legal system.
Hmm. Yep. So,
When will it end, eh?
well, it will only end when people take a stand and decide they've had enough and they're not going to tolerate any more of this nonsense. So, one of the problems is respectable people can't even countenance this. They can't even imagine the horror of gang raping a 14-year-old girl. It's mind boggling. They can't even fathom it. And it's so shocking to them that they can barely even contemplate it, let alone talk about it, share the information, or do something about it. They're unable to cope with the information. Well, sorry, but I think you have to cope and I think you have to do something, because if you think the horror is bad for you, imagine the horror the poor victim has gone through. I mean, it brings tears to your eyes just to read the accounts or hear about the accounts of what atrocities were committed on these poor young girls. It's absolutely abhorrent.
And it's been going on forever.
Indeed.
It's not as if it's a new thing or even an old thing. It's just changes different. It goes from different.
Yeah.
Just it's all yeah. It's same at the end of the day, but it goes through different stages. I mean, you started off with probably the abuse within the family, maybe in the 40s and 50s, just as a guess. Then in the 60s and 70s, it was the care home abuse, and then after the 80s, it were um, this kind of um, gang raping, and then of course you had Mad Jimmy Savile in the middle, and they let him do what he wants.
Well, I think that the perpetrators of much of this were priests in the Roman Catholic Church before the Muslim faith became associated with it. And let's be frank, it's only one small faction of the Muslim religion that has been implicated in this activity in the UK, and that's Pakistani Muslims. Why? I can't really say why, except that perhaps Pakistan has a mafia network that's more entrenched than any other Muslim countries that would allow this kind of corruption and turn not just a blind eye to it and enable it, but to actually promote it. There'd have to be systemic evil of a criminal, organized crime syndicate nature to allow these girls to be trafficked on an industrial scale. It's disgusting, but there you go. But let's not pin all the blame on Muslims. Before them, it was Roman Catholic priests, wasn't it? And there were so many outraged Catholics that had found out about it that they demanded that justice be done and that these various priests, these pedophile priests, be punished for their crimes and that this problem be addressed and eliminated from the Catholic Church. And a purge took place, and the situation has improved. How great an improvement? I can only hope that there's been a substantial improvement. But here we have religion being a good hiding place for Satanists, because we really normally expect religious practicing people who are practicing their religious faith and going to the temple or going to the church, we expect them to be respectable, honorable, and we would never expect or suspect that they would be involved in something so deeply satanically sick as child trafficking or pedophilia or any of these heinous crimes. We wouldn't expect it. So it's an excellent hiding place for Satanists. And of course, the residential school system in Canada has been accused of this kind of satanic ritual abuse. Whether it's true or not, I cannot say, but there has been some research done into this, and Kevin Annett has done extensive research. I don't trust him or his information, but if there's any truth to it, then you can see where the Satanists often seek to hide within religious institutions themselves, where they would not be suspected, and people would not expect to find them.
Yeah, so you are right though. It's mainly the church, Catholic Church first, and then the Muslim Church. You've There's been a few Jehovah Witnesses and Mormons and even Christians, but not on the level of the other two. So I guess that's right. You know, they take people into their confidences and then do whatever they do. Oh bloody hell! It's actually sick thinking about it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
culture genocide. Maybe.
Well, that's certainly part of it. It seems that there is a faction within the Muslim religion that seeks to use it as a political ideology to attack and destroy other cultures, particularly Christian culture, and to, use these tactics to commit cultural and even literal genocide upon the target population so that you can take over. All right, so I've identified another problem. Bear with me. This is a bit of a, it seems like I'm segueing off topic, but I'm actually not. When I was in Korea, Koreans justified dog eating by claiming these dogs were not pets but livestock that lived outside in the barn. Now, I was served boshing tong at my wife's family farmhouse in the country. Boshing tong means dog soup. Now, it wouldn't have been my choice, but I have been served this dish. They are not domesticated dogs that are pets and get fawned over and treated like the household pet. They're treated like livestock, and they live out in the what is essentially a shed, a barn outside. And when the day comes for them to be slaughtered, it's not pleasant. I've heard them, howling, yiping, screaming in dog language, and it's horrible to hear this. And I've heard it right in the heart of Seoul. What exactly is causing this extremely painful death that it seems protracted and goes on for a lengthy period of time? What are they doing to these poor animals? Well, I have heard accounts that they were hanging them in a tree from a rope and beating them with sticks and then setting their fur on fire for the purpose of releasing adrenaline into their system, which would then infuse itself into the muscles, the muscle tissue, which would become meat after they've been braised and cooked and ready for dinner. So, what would be the benefit of adrenaline-rich meat for consumption? It would boost your libido, increase your vitality, probably make you more robust in the winter months to fend off colds and flu and be more hearty during the winter months. But the probably most significant of those justifications or reasons is to boost the libido.
I've got
All right.
two comments, two comments, and just let you know there's 3 minutes left. So the two comments are: use Viagra if you want a bit more libido, and I'd be screaming like a dog if I had that soup. Sorry.
Well, honestly, I mean, I can't even countenance inflicting suffering on another living being so as to, increase my hedonistic pleasure in other facets of life, like my increasing my libido for sexual pleasure purposes. I mean, it's just beyond me. I mean, isn't it easier to just go to Chinatown and buy some ginseng brandy? That's what I do. I don't need Viagra. That's gonna keep me going all day and all night.
You'll be barking like a dog again. No, but it is bad that they treat animals that way.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, it's not just animals. These Satanists do the same to virgin children, torture them for the purpose of releasing adrenaline in high volume into their blood to produce adrenochrome, which they harvest by biting the poor deer in the neck before death and drinking their blood. And then they have these satanic orgies, having feasted on the adrenochrome of this poor sacrificial victim. Oh, horrible.